Looks like Xbox Series X is finally getting the boost that it's been deserving for a while now. This was something that I felt like they needed to get out there probably a while ago, just to be honest about it. While I feel like the Xbox Series X is a great console, and I've been on record as saying that many times, like, you can't deny it. I've said it so many times. Xbox Series X is a great console, but because the fact that Microsoft never pushes their console, means that most developers aren't going to really take advantage of it, which was really unfortunate, to say the least. Now, for me personally, I look at it and I go, okay, well, I think the 360 was a great console. Obviously, I think the Xbox One started off well with how they came out of the gate. But, obviously there was going to be a point where games were kind of not being fully used to the full advantage of what they could do. And that, I felt like, was really unfortunate. And now it looks like they're starting to take advantage of it. See, here's the thing. It's not just on paper that the Xbox Series X is more powerful than, the PlayStation 5. I mean, it just really is. And, the thing that really annoys me is the fact that, so many PlayStation 5 games were actually playing better than the Xbox one. So, that was really unfortunate. It looks like maybe we're starting to get past that a little bit. I felt like, with Hellblade, I fully expected that game to be, one of those games that's 30 frames or whatever. And I'm not like a frame snob, so to speak. I, prefer there to be 60 frames options. But it's like Redfall really should have been 60, like right at launch. Starfield should have been, and we're seeing the results of that, the fact that it wasn't, and we're kind of starting to see how, like, people were reacting to it now that it is. So people are really starting to kind of come around and say, hey, that's a hell of a game right there, or they're starting to really kind of beef up with the Xboxes. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, but it is nice to see that the update has seen a huge boost in player counts on Xbox. Starfield's huge May update was a big one, bringing loads of new performance modes and other fixes and tweaks to Bethesda's RPG. Shortly after last week's release, the update was getting some good feedback from fans, and now it seems to have produced a big jump into player numbers as well. According to this, Starfield has climbed 9 places in the latest Xbox charting, now breaking in the top 20. According to that, the numbers have jumped by 72%. I've even jumped on it and started playing it again myself. So yeah, there's that. It seems like a decent bump. Anyway, it's good to see that the sorts of free updates create an uptake in player counts. Clearly, people were excited to get back into Starfield at higher frame rates, and with some of the fixes and things like that have been put out there. So the update has done a good job in that regard. As for the actual performance updates, again, it looks like that's going to be really kind of depending on who's doing what. But yeah, I like the fact that, this stuff is kind of coming back around. I like Starfield. I've been on record as saying that. I think Starfield is a really good game. Was it a perfect game? No. It definitely wasn't a perfect game. It was one of those games that really kind of... I thought it was really showcasing some cool stuff, and I love the idea and the premise, and, you could easily get lost like I did just doing other stuff. Like, I was doing a lot of side stuff, just having a blast, and and so many people were probably doing that as well. Like, the minute you started finding out that you could land on different planets, and then other groups of people would land, and then you could steal their ships and and add them to your fleet or whatever, and just be like a space pirate. I thought that was just cool, and realistically that had not much really to do with the game itself. It's just like this side thing that you could do. And the fact that I'm not going to try and give everything too much away here, but there's different ways that you can end that game, right? And you could, the way that I did it, which I thought was pretty cool and maybe should be a choice in games in the future, is I didn't have to fire a single bullet or anything to end the game the way that I did it. And I thought that was super inventive. There's other ways I could have done it, But the way that I chose to do it, I thought was really cool, and it was really cool that they allowed me to do that the way that I wanted to. And I could go back and change it up and do something completely different next time. And I think that is really cool, and that says a lot about Starfield. Now, Starfield is completely different than other games, and I get it, man. People love Skyrim, people love Fallout. Obviously, I mean, people absolutely love Fallout, and so when you see something like Starfield doing what it's doing, and people go, oh, well, that's not Skyrim or Elder Scrolls, or that's not this or that, I feel kind of bad. I'm like, it's not, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. I mean, listen, Naughty Dog, for instance, did great with Jak and Daxter. Uncharted was no Jak and Daxter, but it was its own thing and great in and of itself. Then Uncharted was a fantastic series, and then they did The Last of Us. The Last of Us isn't Uncharted, but it was still great. Like, I don't understand why it seems like there's this huge difference of opinions when it comes to like Xbox and everything else. Just, in my humble opinion anyway, right? It just does not seem like it is something that is looked at in sort of a fair light. It just, in my opinion, it's just it's kind of crummy. So I hope that Microsoft gets a fair shake for their games and stuff, because like I said, I thought Starfield was really, really, really good. And even though there's not been a whole lot this generation to kind of get excited about, in my opinion, Starfield was one of those things to get excited about. So I look at that and I go, hey, that's a really good game. It wasn't perfect. Like, the funny thing is these games are so close, so close, and it's just a shame that we're not seeing more and more of these things come out of this thing. Just honestly, if Starfield had just been delayed, and I know that's like against the rules or whatever, right? Oh man, delay the game or whatever, Starfield. I get it, but it's like at the same time, Starfield is good, but if it would have just been that little bit of extra, I think that it would have been so much better. And like, if it would have had what it had now, maybe that's the maybe that'll be the future, like wait a little bit longer. And I feel like with Forza Motorsport, it was the same way. If that would have been delayed and got some of those updates that it has right now, it would be much better off, and I just feel like Microsoft has missed the ball a little bit with that. That's, I guess, poor planning, poor judgment on their part. I don't know, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this stuff. Let me know, how do you feel about the boost of players and stuff? Do you think they should take more advantage of the Series X in the future? I certainly do, and I hope they do. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.